Hi guys, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my favorite all-time YA contemporaries. I think I have 7 total, so let's just get into them and I can tell you why I love them. The first one is Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda. I love this book. It's hard to explain why, but I'm going to give you a synopsis of what it's about first. Simon is a not so openly gay high school student. He knows he's gay. He hasn't come out to his family or his friends, and then he is blackmailed by a fellow student. He is emailing a fellow student who's not so openly out either, Blue, and Martin Addison, Martin blackmails Simon because he is in love with Simon's best friend Abby. The first time I read this book, I actually listened to it on audiobook with my husband, and I remember getting to the end of the book and I was like smiling like an idiot, and he yelled at me because he just wanted to go home. So yeah, but I really liked this book. I reread it this year before the movie Love, Simon came out, and I read it in one day. I was in a bad mood. I just got in a fight with someone and I read it in one day, and it was such a de-stressor. It's a book you can read in one day. It's really funny. I caught myself laughing, and this is such a good book. And if you haven't seen the movie Love, Simon, I definitely would recommend the movie. It's my happy place. I love Simon. I love Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda. It's just, this book. We're actually gonna reread it in November for my book club, so I get to read it again twice in 1 year. I'm very excited. And along the same vein is Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I read this book, it came out in April, and I think I read it the day it came out. Leah is not so openly bi. I think her mom knows, her friends definitely don't know, Simon doesn't know, even though now he's openly gay. But Leah is a badass. She says fuck like every other page, and I laughed so hard. She like talks how I talk, which I loved a lot. A lot about her family. It was a lot, she just has a mom. It was a lot about, you know, her friend group. It's the end of senior year, so they're kind of dispersing, but it was a love story as well. And it was something I was hoping that would happen in Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda, and it happened in Leah on the Offbeat, and I stan it so hard, and I'm hoping for a movie. And if anyone is watching this, can we get a Leah on the Offbeat movie? That is all I have to say about these. These are great one-day reads. They're light and fluffy and just romantic and have a lot of diverse characters, and this is just something I highly recommend. Becky Albertalli is a god, and she's a super nice person. I met her in real life twice, so she's great. Next books I want to talk about are kind of sort of in the spotlight right now, and I'm so happy. This is To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy by Jenny Han. I read this book when I first got my Kindle in 2015. It was like, Amazon was like, hey, you might like this book, and I was like, that sounds like an adorable title, I'm sure I will. And I loved it. I loved it so much that I bought the physical copies. I have all 3. This is 2. Hold on, I'm getting there. 3. I've read these 2 twice now, and just Always and Forever Lara Jean once. If you haven't seen the movie on Netflix, I highly recommend seeing it. It came out 2 days ago. I've watched it 3 times. I watched it back to back. I think my husband even liked it. He didn't hate it, I don't think. Let me tell you about these books. So Lara Jean writes love letters to her 5 crushes that she's had in her life, and they accidentally get sent out. And then she goes and she pretend dates Peter Kavinsky, so her next door neighbor Josh doesn't think that she still loves him. It's a whole big thing. It's a love triangle, but Jenny Han makes it not so love triangle-y that you're like, ugh, it's a love triangle. I hate love triangle tropes. She makes it adorable and cute. I love Lara Jean. All she does in this book is like be an introvert and cook and bake, and I don't bake, but like she made me want to bake, and it gets even better. I think P.S. I Still Love You was my favorite of the trilogy because we get a little bit of John Ambrose McLaren. Well, Michelle, you know this book. John Ambrose McLaren. So if you're looking for light and fluffy, first, I would read the books. 3 of them. Trace. And then I would watch the adorable Netflix movie and support Jenny Han, and then maybe we can get a second and third movie. Let's do it. The next book I'm talking about is My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Warga. I also read this on my Kindle when it first came out, and I was in a very dark place when I read this for the first time, and it kind of hit close to home. I think I have 15 highlights in my Kindle, but this book, like, the way she described depression just, like, blew me away because no one else had described it that way to me before, and it was exactly how I felt. This book is about a boy and a girl who are strangers, I think, and they form a suicide pact. I think the boy's, whose name I don't know, I haven't read this in a while, his sister died and he is taking the blame for it, and then the girl in the book is just severely depressed, has a bad home life, and they form a suicide pact, and they end up getting really close and falling in love. And do they go through with the suicide pact? I don't know, but you should read it because I know. I'm not gonna tell you. This book is definitely on my reread list. The way she described depression, I've never seen it anywhere else, and I just want to see if it still hits close to home now that I'm in a less dark place. But it's a kind of dark contemporary, but I found myself crying and enjoying the story so much. I definitely recommend this book. She's a great author. The next book is The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. I read this book at the end of last year, and it was a 5-star read. It's definitely a darker contemporary. It's about this girl who moves into the house of a girl who accused the popular boys at her school of rape and was essentially run out of town. She becomes friends with these 2 other outcasts, and they form the Nowhere Girls, who are intent on taking down these popular boys who have been accused of rape. What I really loved about this book is that it's a feminist novel, YA novel, but there's also a point where this young African-American girl is like, this isn't my feminism, this is white feminism, I don't play into this. And there was also a girl who was Catholic, and she was like, these girls don't understand, like, I don't need this in my life. And I thought that was really interesting. I've never read anything where it's like, this isn't my feminism because. And I thought that was super interesting. And the last 2 chapters had me bawling. And I thought this was so well done. It was a little graphic, which I don't mind, but it was like, I was taken aback by how graphic it was. But I think it's an important story, and it was really well done. And I love Amy Reed. Whatever she's coming out with next, sign me up. I'm ready. Let's go. The next book is The Way You Make Me Feel by Maureen Gu. Look at this cover. Look at this cover. And then look at the spine. Yeah. So this was a cover by. But I actually got the arc of this and read the arc in one day. This follows Clara, who's the class clown who gets in trouble at her prom, I think, and has to work at her father's food truck for the rest of the summer with her arch enemy Rose. I almost DNF'd this book because I hated Clara so much. The way she was written, the way she acted, she was like a 3-year-old, and it was awful. But character development, that was the whole point of this novel. Clara turned out to be amazing. She meets this guy named Hamlet, who runs a coffee cart near her father's food truck, and it's just about their relationship and her friendship with Rose and the relationship with her pie. I think she calls it pie, P-A-I, her pie, her dad. And it was an adorable book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I can't wait to read the actual physical copy because it's gorgeous, and I just loved the story. It's set in LA. Clara's great, so don't give up on Clara in the first like 3 chapters because she's annoying as heck. But I definitely suggest Maureen Gu. I loved her other book, The Way You Make Me Feel. It was about K-dramas. Maureen Gu is a contemporary genius. Do it. The last book I'm going to talk about is my favorite contemporary book and my favorite contemporary author, and that is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I picked this up in the summer of 2015 when we moved here because of the cover, and it is a huge contemporary romance, and I was kind of intimidated and really excited, and I read this during the summer in like 2 days, and then I met Morgan Matson a couple months later, and I love this book. It's a signed copy somewhere. To Michelle, my Twitter buddy, because we talked on Twitter. Yeah, that's right. This is a story about Andy, who has her life all planned out. She's getting ready to go to a huge elite summer program, I think at Johns Hopkins, until her dad's political scandal takes precedent in her life. And then she is removed from the program, and she has no plans for the summer. So instead, she takes up dog walking, and she meets this cute guy named Clark, and it's all about her and Clark and her friendships with 3 other cute, amazing girls, and the relationship with her father. And it's 500 pages, and there's like, oh, I'm gonna show you. There's just like emojis in this book. There's whole pages of emojis, and you have to try to figure out what the girl is trying to say in emojis. And I thought it was adorable and a really cool way to tell the story. And if you haven't read this book because you're intimidated by the size, I completely understand, but it's 100% worth it. All of Morgan Matson's books are 100% worth it. And look at this. Look at the back. Look at all these dogs. Ah! So those are my favorite YA contemporaries. Thanks guys for checking out my channel. Please subscribe. Have a good day.